Welcome back, dear Turkish series stars family. It's a joy to see you here in our cozy corner of the internet, where celebrity stories aren't just tossed around but explored with heart, context, and that special spark only our community brings. Before we dive into tonight's whirlwind, make sure you're subscribed, tap the bell so you're first to hear every whisper and every sigh, and if you love these deep dives into the emotions behind the headlines, consider joining our members club for exclusive behind-the-scenes tea. Are you ready to peek behind the smiles and step into the tender, complicated world of love and family? Settle in, because this is Turkish series stars. For months, an almost cinematic tension hovered around the bond between the quietly magnetic Emin and the fiercely beloved actress İlsu, not because of any cracks in their romance, but because of the delicate space that had grown between Emin and İlsu's inner circle, especially her sister, the ever-watchful Gamze Demirci. Industry corridors hummed with speculation. Was there distance? Was there an icy reserve? The murmurs hinted at a protective wall, a buffer erected not out of malice but out of love for İlsu. Gamze, in the public mind, has long stood as a guardian of her sister's peace, a woman who has seen enough of the industry's highs and lows to know that love can be fragile if not nurtured with care. Columnists repeated the same refrain. Gamze was cautious, measured, skeptical of grand gestures and short on faith in romances that blaze too bright and fizzle too fast. Friends of friends claimed she confided a single line that explained everything, a sentiment distilled like a promise. She never wanted to see İlsu in tears again. Was that protective instinct born from past scars or simply a sister's unwavering devotion? We can't say for certain. But what we do know is this: Gamze's sensitivity toward her sister's private life has never been a secret, and it shaped the rhythm of this love story more than any scriptwriter could. Then came a quiet act that changed the narrative's tempo. The first thaw happened not under the golden sun of a resort, but during a dimly lit night brimming with candles and laughter, Gamze's birthday celebration. Emin didn't slip into the room as a +1 hovering at the edges. He took his place as a man who understands that loving someone means loving their family, too. He moved gently, listened intently, smiled with calm restraint. Not loud. Not showy. Just present. The photos from that evening didn't scream, they glowed. A hand offered to help, a chair pulled out, a toast that mentioned shared futures rather than fleeting fame. It was subtle, but it spoke volumes. Many who were watching felt it in the silence between words, a pledge of respect, of patience, of staying power. And then, like a summer storm that breaks the heat and clears the sky, came the trip everyone's talking about. Not a flashy escape laden with photo ops, but a vacation whose captured moments looked startlingly domestic. Gamze, her husband, their bright-eyed daughter, and, yes, Emin and İlsu, together, unhurried. The same tables. The same laughter. The same sunrise coffees and late-night giggles. It wasn't about the resort's luxury or the immaculate views, it was about how naturally they fit in each other's frames. Nothing forced. Nothing performed. Shoulders relaxed. Phones set aside. The kind of ease that happens only when people decide to let each other in. Here at Turkish series stars, we don't just glance, we read what's written between the lines. And oh, was there a detail that had everyone melting: Emin with Gamze's daughter. There is no more honest audience than a child. You cannot fake warmth with someone who sees straight into your intentions. The images of him crouching to her eye level, drawing circles in the sand, tying a tiny shoelace, letting her win a game she was determined to win anyway, those gestures traveled faster than any gossip. Viewers murmured the same sentiment: he looked like someone who understands that love isn't proven by grand speeches but by gentle, everyday actions. That bond, spontaneous and pure, said more about Emin's core than any interview ever could. Of course, none of this blooms overnight. Behind those sunlit snapshots sits a long timeline of humble work. People close to the couple whisper that Emin invested the one currency that matters: time. He showed up for family milestones, kept tradition in the foreground, and never weaponized attention. No sweeping theatrics, no pressure to accelerate. Instead, a steady presence, calls made when no one was watching, respect shown when frustration simmered, quiet conversations where he asked more than he declared. Gams, who misses nothing, began to see a pattern. She stopped measuring him against fear and started measuring him against reality. And what of our leading lady? For İlsu, this getaway carried the weight of a gentle miracle. Imagine the relief of no longer standing on a tightrope between the man you love and the family that raised you. Imagine taking a breath and feeling it travel all the way down, unbroken. Those who know her speak of an ease returning to her shoulders, a lightness in her stride, a calm anchored deep. The camera didn't just catch her smile, it caught the absence of strain behind it. In every frame, she looked like someone who no longer has to choose. Now, the question that floats over every fairy tale turning point, was this simply a pleasant chapter, or the opening of a more serious act? We've heard no press releases, no coy captions. And yet, the images have a language of their own. There is a settled grace in the way Emin's hand hovered near İlsu's back when they navigated a crowded terrace, a softness in how Gam's gaze landed on them across the table. It felt less like an experiment and more like an agreement. As if the toughest fortress, Gam's trust, had been approached not with a battering ram but with open palms. Industry voices, often eager to overstate, sound surprisingly measured this time. The consensus forming is that the vacation was not a glittery detour but a punctuation mark at the end of uncertainty. The story many feared might fracture has found sturdier ground. Love here looks less like a spark and more like embers feeding a steady flame. The romance hasn't dimmed, it has matured into something that resembles a life shared daily, deliberately, and with respect. Fresh tidbits from the latter days of the trip only underline that impression. This wasn't a montage of isolated moments, they spent full days together, dawn to night, from messy breakfast plates to sleepy sunsets. The playful routine with the little one became a rhythm, treasure hunts, silly songs, the triumphant ritual of choosing ice cream flavors. Those closest say that Gam's comfort arrived quickly once she saw her daughter relax without hesitation. For a mother, her child's calm is the most reliable compass. Emin's unforced rapport with the girl mattered more than bouquets or elaborate declarations. It wasn't a performance to pass a test, it was lived in warmth. Let's paint another scene that keeps resurfacing in social whispers: dinner under a velvet sky, a modest table, a candle flickering despite the warm breeze. The conversation wasn't all laughter, it deepened at times, circling choices, work schedules, privacy, future plans. Emin didn't dominate. He listened, fielding questions with serenity, meeting concerns without defensiveness. When he spoke, he did so with a grounded certainty, the kind that says, I am not here for now, I am here for always. No fireworks. Just intention. And then there's the quiet shift in İlsu's public aura. She has lived under relentless lenses, juggling a demanding career with emotions that the world feels entitled to interpret. But on this trip, something in her softened. Friends say they can't remember the last time she seemed so at ease, so free of the invisible tug-of-war. For once, there was no battleground. Only one table. One laugh. One center of gravity. Gam's social media trail after the holiday told its own story. She didn't call anyone out or stage a reveal. Instead, her posts hummed with words like serenity, togetherness, and home, soft echoes that feel too pointed to be coincidence. She didn't tag, she didn't hint, she simply let the tone speak. And those listening closely heard it clearly: the weather has changed. If whispers from production corridors are to be believed, this trip held a quiet evaluation. Not harsh, not formal, just the family measuring whether Emin could fit into the pattern of their days. He wasn't weighed as a charming companion but as someone who might one day carry responsibilities, traditions, Sundays, crises, and small victories alongside them. The verdict, if the smiles are any indication, is radiant. Observers even noted the easy camaraderie that bloomed between Gam's husband and Emin, a steady, unforced back and forth that often signals a place gained, not borrowed. At this point, the bigger picture comes into focus. We're watching a couple step over one of the oldest, trickiest hurdles, not the red carpet glare or the rumor mill, but the gentler, stricter tribunal of family. Every relationship wishes for this moment. The moment love is recognized not just by two hearts but by the circle around them. Does that mean wedding bells are imminent? We won't jump the gun. But when a family's tone shifts from wary to welcoming, the path ahead tends to widen. And yes, comparisons have begun. Those who adore timeless screen romances have started linking Emin's unflashy, steadfast demeanor with that classic leading man energy, the kind that holds steady in storms and speaks in actions more than boasts. Meanwhile, admirers see in İlsu that mix of strength and grace that anchors a home, a set, a future. It's the alchemy audiences love, fire and calm, determination and gentleness, two energies that don't cancel each other out, but fortify each other. Before we close, Turkish series stars family, tell me this, how much does family acceptance matter? Is harmony with your in-laws a non-negotiable foundation, or can love flourish in a bubble? Drop your thoughts below, because your voices turn these stories into conversations, and your insights often reveal angles the headlines miss. If this compassionate breakdown speaks to you, tap that like, it really helps our community grow, and if you want bonus takes and early peeks, consider becoming a channel member to keep this independent voice strong. As for Emin and İlsu, the final images of the trip linger like the last notes of a favorite song. Matching smiles that don't feel coordinated, arms that settle naturally where they belong, a nap taken in the shade while the child snores softly after a day of sunshine. It's not grand. It's true. And from where we're sitting, truth is the most dramatic storyline of all. So we end this chapter looking at a family that feels more woven together than ever, and at a couple that appears to have traded early tremors for deeper roots. Will the next scenes bring rings, vows, a new address? Time will speak. Until then, you know we're watching with the same patience and care that transformed this story from tension to tenderness. Which other Turkish stars would you like to see navigate this delicate dance of love and family? Whose journey should we map next, detail by detail, feeling by feeling? Your wish is our compass, so fill the comments with your picks. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with a friend who lives for a good love saga, and join our members club if you want to step behind the curtain with us. Thank you for staying until the end and for choosing thoughtful storytelling in a world full of noise. Until next time, Turkish series stars family, keep your hearts open and your eyes on the story.